Yo, what is going on, YouTube? It is the Stark and Me podcast, back here with an amazing video. It is about an hour after the JD Vance and Tim Walz debate. It was incredible to watch. JD Vance, amazing, on top, terrific. That's all I could say about that. Amazing, okay? Trump had a really great pick. It was incredible to watch. Watching it was so fun. Smee is in here. He is currently in Vegas. Hope he's having a lot of fun. But let's get straight into this video, okay? I have a whole bunch of tweets and stuff, or posts on X, I should say, that we're gonna be taking a good look at. Okay. I do a really good following on I like to really go into the stuff that Benny Johnson is. Shout out to Benny Johnson. He's a yeah, he has the Benny show. So we're gonna go on his Twitter X page, okay? And we're gonna go through some of the posts that he was making, okay? I think he covered a lot of it very well on there. So let's go take a look at that real quick. I'll share my screen here. Okay. So if we take a look, let's take a look at here. Let's take a look at this for sure. We'll start with this being first things first. Tim Walz, direct relative, joins Trump campaign debate watch party. So one of his family members were at a watch party. Alrighty. That's I don't know, if I was Tim Walz, that would make me very demotivated. Very demotivated, I feel like. But let's go on to it. Let's see what see right here. Hopefully the audio works.
I believe that we actually do have a threat to democracy in this country, but unfortunately, it's not the threat to democracy that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz want to talk about. It is the threat of censorship. It's Americans casting aside lifelong friendships because of disagreements over politics. It's big technology companies silencing their fellow citizens. And it's Kamala Harris saying that rather than debate and persuade her fellow Americans, she'd like to censor people who engage in misinformation. I think that is a much bigger threat to democracy than anything that we've seen in this country in the last 4 years, in the last 40 years. Now, I'm really proud, especially given that I was raised by two lifelong blue-collar Democrats, to have the endorsement of Bobby Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard, lifelong leaders in the Democratic coalition. And of course, they don't agree with me and Donald Trump on every issue. We don't have to agree on every issue, but we're united behind a basic American First Amendment principle that we ought to debate our differences. We ought to argue about them. We ought to try to persuade our fellow Americans. Kamala Harris is engaged in censorship at an industrial scale. She did it during COVID. She's done it over a number of other issues. And that, to me, is a much bigger threat to democracy than what Donald Trump said when he said that protesters should peacefully protest on January the 6th.
Fully agreed. Honestly, he basically just said everything. Great response to that whole prompt. That because I watched the full debate, I remember that exactly. Okay, basically talking about J6 here. First off, I feel like we should not even be bringing up J6. I feel like we should be talking more about what they're currently going to be doing as vice presidents, helping their president. Okay, I feel like that's what we should be talking about, policies. Okay, all that type stuff. But no, they want to have a debate about, or the moderators bring up J6. What is this? I'm pretty sure, yeah, CBS News. Horrible moderators, which we'll talk about. Freaking horrible. It's pathetic. Truly is. Very pathetic. Okay. Lost Benny. All right, here we go. Next up.
That people care about.
Governor, just to follow up on that, the question was, can you explain the discrepancy?
All I said on this is I got there that summer and misspoke on this. So I will just, that's what I've said.
It's lost.
So I was in Hong Kong and China during the democracy protest went in. And from that, I learned a lot of what needed to be in governance.
Thanks.
Those are the things that I think are the values that people care about.
You guys heard that?
Governor, just to...
Okay. See this here?
To speak as a father of three beautiful little kids, and our oldest is now in second grade. And like a lot of parents, we send our kids to school with such hope and such joy and such pride at their little faces on the first day of school. And we know, unfortunately, that a lot of kids are going to experience this terrible epidemic of gun violence. And of course, our hearts go out to the families that are affected by this terrible stuff. And we do have to do better. And I think that Governor Walz and I actually probably agree that we need to do better on this. The question is just, how do we actually do it? Now, here's something that really bothers me and worries me about this epidemic of violence. The gross majority, close to 90% in some of the statistics I've seen, of the gun violence in this country is committed with illegally obtained firearms. And while we're on that topic, we know that thanks to Kamala Harris's open border, we've seen a massive influx in the number of illegal guns run by the Mexican drug cartel. So that number, the amount of illegal guns in our country is higher today than it was 3.5 years ago. But what do we do about the schools? What do we do to protect our kids? And I think the answer is, and I say this not loving the answer, because I don't want my kids to go to school in a school that feels unsafe or where there are visible signs of security. But I unfortunately think that we have to increase security in our schools. We have to make the doors lock better. We have to make the doors stronger. We've got to make the windows stronger. And of course, we've got to increase school resource officers, because the idea that we can magically wave a wand and take guns out of the hands of bad guys, it just doesn't fit with recent experience. So we've got to make our schools safer. And I think we've got to have some common sense bipartisan solutions for how to do that.
Good statement there by JD Vance. 100%. Okay, 100%. We'll go to the next one here. Oh, this clip is insane. This clip is, oh man, this is gonna go down as memes. This is gonna go down in the record books. Okay, this clip does not make Tim Walz look good whatsoever. Okay, Walz here is we'll just play the clip. We'll play it a couple times too for you guys.
I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look, the NRA. I've become.
So I could slow this down.
Friends.
Too slow. Let's go to we'll go to a 0.5 here.
Friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look, the NRA.
You heard it there, folks. He became friends with school shooters. All right. God bless. God bless all the people that have been affected by school shooters, school shootings, school shooting events, or even in this or all around the world. God bless them, and I pray for them every day. Okay? It's very sad. Okay? Whoops. Did not mean to do that. Sorry about that. It is extremely sad to see. Okay? Okay? Also, as well, be able to get more resource officers, school officers. Okay? Get better just get a better environment at schools. Okay, make sure that they're running like tons of drills. That's definitely a big part, because when I was in high school, we maybe did a drill like every couple months or something. I was not for that. Okay, I think there should be more drill practicing, more procedures done, tons of things to help eliminate the or not eliminate, I should say the process of being as safe as possible and making sure you're doing the right things if that time ever does happen, which is very sad. And may God bless that whole scenario I just said, what I just talked about. It's super and extremely sad that I even have to bring that up right now and talk about that, but it's just a very sad and awful thing to talk about. And God bless all the people that have been affected by it, have been victimized by it. And yeah, let's keep getting on with this. Okay. Take a look at the let's take a look at this one right here.
Something that these guys do is they make a lot of claims about if Donald Trump becomes president, all of these terrible consequences are going to ensue. But in reality, Donald Trump was president. Inflation was low. Take-home pay was higher. And he saved the very program from a Democratic administration that was collapsing and would have collapsed absent his leadership. He did his job, which is govern in a bipartisan way and get results, not just complain about problems, but actually solve them. Something that these guys do is they make
completely agreed.
Claims about if
they claim a lot.
They
claim a lot. Look at inflation right now. Can't go to a grocery store. You literally pay like double, triple. Gas over $3 where I live. Okay, and some other places like even more. Okay, it's sad. It's extremely sad. All right, we gotta fix this. Okay, and the only way by fixing it is voting Mr. Trump right here. Okay, that will definitely help us out.
And just to clarify
Plus this one.
for our viewers, Springfield, Ohio does have a
big clip.
large number of
Big.
Haitian migrants who have legal status, temporary protected status. Nora?
but
Thank you, Senator. We have so much to get to.
Margaret, I think it's important
We're
because
going to turn now to the
debate-
economy. Thank
Margaret,
you.
the rules were that
The
you guys
economy,
weren't going
we're-
to fact check, and since you're fact checking me, I think it's important to say what's actually going on. So there's an application called the CBP One app, where you can go on as an illegal migrant, apply for asylum or apply for parole, and be granted legal status at the wave of a Kamala Harris open border wand. That is not a person coming in, applying for a green card and waiting for 10 years. That
Thank
is
you,
the
Senator.
facilitation of illegal immigration, Margaret, by
Thank
our
you,
own
Senator, for
leadership.
describing the
Walz's
legal
face is
process.
insane.
We
And
have
Kamala
so much
Harris
to get
opened up
to,
that
Senator.
pathway.
Those
We have
laws
so
have been on
much-
the books since 1990.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The
We
CBP
wanna have-
One app has not been on the books.
They cut him off.
Gentlemen, the audience can't hear you because your mics are cut. We have so much we want to get
Let's
to.
come
Thank
to
you
the
for
point.
explaining the legal process.
Okay. They said the CBS News said they will not be fact checking anything. What do? Especially against JD Vance. And I am proud, okay, that JD Vance was able to stand up. Horrible moderators. Horrible. They said that they weren't fact checking. What did they do? They fact checked JD Vance. It's awkward. Okay. We got people were singing around the world. It was a horrible thing to do. Very horrible. Okay. I'm glad that JD Vance stood his ground there, though. Amazing of him to do. Need a little water break there after that one. Whew. Glad he stood his ground there. Good job by him. Really great job. Okay. Couldn't have seen that any better. Couldn't have done that any better. All right. Let's get to the next clip. See if there's anything else in here. We'll see what this is about right here.
President, but I've also been extremely open. Well, first of all, Margaret, because I've always been open. And sometimes, of course, I've disagreed with the president, but I've also been extremely open about the fact that I was wrong about Donald Trump. I was wrong, first of all, because I believed some of the media stories that turned out to be dishonest fabrications of his record. But most importantly, Donald Trump delivered for the American people. Rising wages, rising take-home pay, an economy that worked for normal Americans, a secure southern border, a lot of things, frankly, that I didn't think he'd be able to deliver on. And yeah, when you screw up, when you misspeak, when you get something wrong and you change your mind, you ought to be honest with the American people about it. It's one of the reasons, Margaret, why I've done so many interviews is because I think it's important to actually explain to the American people where I come down on the issues and what changed. Now, you pointed out the messages from 2020. Margaret, I've been extremely consistent that I think there were a lot of things that we could have done better in the Trump administration the first round if Congress was doing its job. I strongly believe, and I've been a United States Senator, that Congress is not just a high-class debating society. It's not just a forum for senators and congressmen to whine about problems. It's a forum to govern. So there were a lot of things on the border, on tariffs, for example, where I think that we could have done so much more if the Republican Congress and the Democrats in Congress had been a little bit better about how they govern the country. They were so obsessed with impeaching Donald Trump, they couldn't actually govern. And I want to talk about this tariff issue in particular, Margaret, because Tim just accused this of being a national sales tax. Look, the one thing, and you're probably surprised to hear me praising Joe Biden, but the one thing that Joe Biden did is he continued some of the Trump tariffs that protected American manufacturing jobs. And it's the one issue, the most pro-worker part of the Biden administration, it's the one issue where Kamala Harris has run away from Joe Biden's record. Think about this. If you're trying to employ slave laborers in China at $3 a day, you're going to do that and undercut the wages of American workers unless our country stands up for itself and says, you're not accessing our markets unless you're paying middle-class Americans a fair wage.
Great point. Great point. Okay. I mean, pretty much everything else that he said. Pretty good. We don't even need to really go over anything else because you guys kind of get the hint of it. But CBS moderators won't fact check the vice president debate. Looks like they did. They lied. Like Benny Johnson said, they lied. Horrible liars. That's a horrible thing to do. Lying is horrible, okay? Do not lie. That is actually very sad to see, though. I think it was all in total, it was a good debate for JD Vance. Really proud to see that. The freaking debate was just great. Like I said, overall, okay, wonderful. But yeah, I think that basically sums up this video. I don't want to make it go too long. I think it sums it up perfectly. All right, but thank you all for watching. Okay, shout out Benny Johnson though. Okay, great person. Love watching his live stream. Shout out to him. I used his X post. But yeah, thank you guys for watching though. Thank you all. I highly appreciate it. Okay, leave a like, subscribe, comment if you guys made it this far. Check out our socials, all Circus to Me podcast on TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram. Go check us out. All right. I'll see you all in the next video. All right. We're gonna be making some videos about talking about our shorts as well. Okay. We have a lot of things that we have in mind here. Okay. And we'll see you all later. Peace out, everyone. Peace.